Hey guys, what's going on? I'm here today to bring you a Monaco Formula 1 Grand Prix race and qualifying predictions. Just a little thing to add to the channel a little bit because I am quite a Formula 1 fan and I thought I'd like to give my own impressions. Like you see other people on YouTube doing this sort of thing in the Formula 1 community, and I thought I'd try my hand at it. Except the only thing is, I'm going to be doing this on special races, so races like Australia at the start of the season, um, Spain, which is one of the key tracks, Monaco because it's just a brilliant track, and Spa because it's one of the most historic racetracks on the calendar. Again, with Silverstone, it's historic and it's the home of Formula One, and Monza because, well, it was like a racetrack in the 50s, and again goes to historical value. Uh, Races like Brazil because not so much historical value, but just because it's such a brilliant racetrack, and I think it's third or second to the end of the season. And at the end of the season, which it depends, it would have been Brazil, but it's Abu Dhabi for some reason. Now then, let's get started. So, key teams for me to watch out for would be any Mercedes powered cars. So that would be Mana, Force India, Williams, and of course Mercedes. Because I mean they've just got the power unit at the time, well as of this time. So obviously they're going to have quite good pace, and like Monaco isn't really a track for pace; it's more turns and mechanical grip. But again, Mercedes cars just have that sort of thing. Because if you've noticed in the speed traps, the Mana cars, especially Rio Haryanto, has been it's been some of the fastest in the speed traps. For example, last weekend at the Spanish Grand Prix, it was faster than the works Mercedes car of Nico Rosberg. In fact, I think second was the Force India of Nico Hulkenberg. Uh, yeah, those would be the teams to watch out for. Any Mercedes powered cars, but the actual sort of teams to look out for on track would be Mana because I feel they could contend for a. Well, obviously they won't qualify in Q2, but I feel they could get mid in the mid pack of the Q3 squad. So that would be Sauber, uh, possibly Renault and Mana. But I feel like they could get quite in the middle of it there. Another team to watch out for, I'd say, would be Renault, especially Jolyon Palmer. Now, you would probably think, oh, he's not exactly the best driver in the world. He's had, well, very poor results, whereas Kevin Magnussen has pretty much outqualified him on every single one. And that may be true, but it's also the race you've got to look out for as well. If you saw in Australia and I think it was China or Spain, Palmer done some pretty good fighting, I'd say, and judging that he's GP2 champion, I wouldn't exactly put him out of contention to put up a good scrap for 12th or 13th, I'd say. That's where I reckon Palmer's going to come around. Magnussen, I reckon, is going to come around in that area, so around anywhere from 13th to 16th roundabout, around that area. Honda, I'd say, are a team to watch out for because if you've heard like all the stuff Eric Boulier and Ron Dennis are saying, they're saying that Monaco is the track where Honda are going to be at. But they said that last year. They said Spain's where we're going to be at, Monaco's where we're going to be at, Monza's where we're going to be at. I don't know why they said Monza, but there you go. That's Ron Dennis for you. Always optimistic. They do have well, yeah, a power deficiency, so that's where they can equal it up a little bit. And their their aerodynamics team is some of the best in the world. So don't discount them for downforce heavy tracks such as Monaco or China, because this is where the Honda comes into its own a little bit. Obviously, not some of the best, not like top 10 worthy, but in recent races and qualifyings, McLaren have been peaking into the top 10 and have been getting points. So Honda slowly creeping up, and maybe Monaco is where they could get in a top 5 position. We don't know, but I feel 6th is probably the best either McLaren is going to get. Toro Rosso of Daniel Kvyat, of course, demoted in the Spanish Grand Prix to the sister Toro Rosso team, replaced for Max Verstappen for what I think are quite some like childish like arguments. I mean, the first contact in China was a bit of a doozy, but then again, it was racing, and Vettel saying he came in like a torpedo, which of course I don't see. It was just them racing. But in Russia, that was a bit of a like sort of a cringy moment, like, oh god, Daniel, you've really done it for yourself now. And of course, within mere hours of that instant, we learned that Max Verstappen is getting promoted and Kvyat is being demoted. So maybe Kvyat could come back with a vengeance. Of course, with the 2015 upgraded Ferrari power unit, Toro Rosso could come around round about the Renault sort of area, like 13th, maybe scratch up to the top 10. Carlos Sainz again in the same position. Qualified Max Verstappen when he was in Toro Rosso in 2015, I believe. Yeah. So Toro Rosso could be like a top 10 contender as per usual. Williams, I wouldn't exactly say look out for them because they've been sort of like peaking around 5th and 6th with their drivers Massa and Bottas. Red Bull, now, without a doubt the best chassis on the grid, and with drivers like Verstappen and Ricciardo, you can't discount them. In a track such as Monaco, where chassis development and downforce are key, where Red Bull really does specialise, especially in the chassis department, one of the best chassis like on the grid, if not the best. I can't remember if Adrian Newey had anything to do with this year's car, but if he does, then we will know that it's going to be quite downforce dependent rather than power unit. Of course, with the Tag Heuer branded Renault engine not being up to performance of, say, the Mercedes or Ferrari, but of course Verstappen managing to keep Raikkonen behind in the Spanish Grand Prix, so there's driver ability for you, and of course chassis, again, development does matter in these sort of tracks. So Red Bull I see coming top 4 roundabout, no, top 4 or top 5-ish, I'd say. I think Ricciardo might outqualify Verstappen due to last year's incident where Verstappen cocked up his braking and smashed into the wall at turn 1. So I think he might be a bit cautious around this track, try not to make a repeat of last season. And of course he doesn't want to make a bad impression with Dr. Helmut Marko, making him regret his decision. So I think Ricciardo just ahead of Verstappen by, I'd say, around 3-4 tenths of a second. Ferrari. Not really much to say about Ferrari here. Pretty much kept a steady sheet of qualifying, so you got around 3rd and 4th or 3rd and 6th. Of course, Vettel normally out qualifying Raikkonen. So I'd say Vettel around, I'm going to say 4th here, and Raikkonen 6th, because of course Renault with that Tag Heuer branded engine getting a little bit better, and their chassis. So I reckon Ricciardo just ahead of Vettel, and Vettel, then Raikkonen, and then Verstappen. And of course, there's no doubt it's going to be a Mercedes 1-2. I mean, unless Renault, either Vettel can put in his FP3 time into qualifying and somehow get ahead of the Mercedes, or if Red Bull can use that mechanical grip and that car development to their advantage. So obviously it's going to be about like 60-70% chance the Mercedes is going to be on the front row. But this time, as much as I love Nico Rosberg, as much as I love him, I feel this is going to be it for him. Like, this isn't where he's going to get pole, because in Spain, I believe Hamilton got the pole, and now he's starting to get back his driver ability. Of course, whether Nico goes into the right engine setting at turn 1 is what's probably going to happen. Hope they don't make a scene of last race. And of course, hearing around that Hamilton and Rosberg are on their last warning, so pretty much if they collide again, if into turn 1 or wherever, then it's going to make the race a bit more exciting, yes, but pretty much the team is going to have to step in. So you've got Niki Lauda and Toto Wolff probably coming in and possibly firing one or maybe both of them, which could spark around a bit of controversy and a bit of speculation. Of course, with the rumour going around that Rosberg is going to Ferrari next season, which I reckon could be a really good jump for him. Of course, Kimi could be on the way out next season. So you've got Vettel and Rosberg there, two German drivers who know their stuff, who have been in the Formula 1 game long enough. Now for the race, if the Mercedes cars take themselves out, or if one of them gets taken out, that's going to bring the skill of both Red Bull and Ferrari drivers into the mix. Of course, with Vettel not exactly having a great race in Spain, he's hoping that he can capitalise in Monaco. So the drivers in the mix, I'm going to say, for about the top 5, I'm going to say, are going to end up with Alonso in P10, Kvyat and Sainz in 9th and 8th. I'm going to say 6th for Perez, 5th for Bottas, actually no, 5th for Massa, I can see Vettel sort of winning this race if the Mercedes are eliminated, so I'll put him at P1. I'm going to say 3rd place, Ricciardo. Sorry, 4th place, Verstappen. 3rd place, Ricciardo. 2nd, Raikkonen. Vettel 1st. But that's just if, like, the Mercedes take each other out. But if the Mercedes don't get taken out, I'm going to put Rosberg in contention for the win here. Because in a recent interview, Hamilton has said that it's going to be his 7th year in a row that he hasn't won the Monaco Grand Prix. So obviously there's a less likely chance that he's going to win it, but of course he's starting to come back into the title contention here. But of course Raikkonen in 2nd, but with Hamilton's car just coming back against Nico Rosberg, of course. But I don't think Hamilton's going to get this one, because he's saying that he as I said before, he's just not won this in around 7 years, and maybe that could stretch to an 8th year. Never know. So I can see Rosberg probably winning this race overall. Vettel 2nd, and one of the Red Bulls in 3rd. Oh, sorry, that's gone a bit wrong. I've just realised I haven't put Hamilton anywhere. I can see Rosberg 1st, Hamilton 2nd, and Vettel 3rd. It's pretty much been that way throughout most of the season. And that's going to be it for today. So this is a predictions race, and let's see if my predictions have somewhat come true, or I'm going to look like one of the worst ever. So bye bye.